Welcome to Asylum Atelier, welcome to our stream, welcome to Painting Discourse / Art Discourse. I'm so happy to welcome you here on Monday. It's a beautiful day outside. It's like -5. It's really cold, but the amount of light that it's getting into the studio right now, I don't think I've ever seen that so bright. And there is a multiple factors. First of all, it's a clear blue sky, and then there is a lot of snow on on the roofs. And in the historic center, we don't have a flat roofs here. We have these A-shaped roofs, so everything is hitting, like reflecting into my studio, and I'm getting like that really blue, neutral kind of a light. Inside, which I'm really excited about. So I want to take advantage of that very much today. But you can see I'm warming up my hands because it's really cold in my atelier right now. But it's awesome. I came very early morning today, and I have to say there is nothing better than be first in the studio. Even that it's mine. And then no one else comes here. It's always, I remember these from when I used to study, to be first in the studio, when you see all those, like all the separate stations with the students' work, and you see, let's say, someone is copying a plaster cast, and it's completely quiet. It's just that opening. It feels like an opening scene of a movie. So it always excites me, and I hope that you can see that excitement in my eyes today. So let's get quickly through disclaimers. Please do not. One more time. Please do not watch this video. It makes no sense for you to watch it unless you want to join us, and that probably is the way to really truly enjoy what we do here as a group, as a group of people that trying to push the art forward. Not only in terms of like art in general, but our own art, our own creativity. This is very much like a support group. We discuss all the crazy ideas that we have here, and then we apply them to a canvas, in my case. But if you prefer to write, if you prefer to sculpt, if you prefer to write music, it actually works across the whole field of art. So it's most about the creativity, most of the time about the creativity, and then composition as well. And there are a lot of moments when things are philosophical, abstract, and it sometimes get really convoluted, especially when we talk about some specific problems or some specific situation that occurs during the painting process. So you have to be patient with this. Painting, even though it's the simple premise that you mix the proper pigment and proper color, proper hue, and place it to in the proper place on the canvas, and that's about it. There's no really any other specific rules to this madness. So even though this idea, it's very simple, it does not necessarily mean that it's easy, right? Those are two completely different branches. Something that it's simple does not necessarily mean that it's easy. It's a very simple idea that actually does not require any, like I said, any specific, and I'm just described it, what the painting is. Doesn't requires any specific set of skills, but then getting into these, creating these beautiful turns and edges and so on and so forth, it requires a lot of practice. So if you're joining us for first time, or you are not familiar with painting or with creating compositions, or inventing from out of your head, this might be challenging, but trust me, the more you get into this, the easier it's going to get in the long run. I am currently, talking to multiple of my my friends and colleagues, and they struggle with composition as much as I do, sometimes maybe even more. And composition is my primary focus with these streams, and actually in my work in general. So in other words, that I don't find painting an eye or nose or hands or books or whatever other elements we have there at this point as a problem. The problem is what I want to say with the face, with the hands, and that's a little bit more what I'm focusing on right now. And that kind of unlocked completely different understanding of what painting is. It unlocked completely different, like parts of my brain that I was probably not, I was not utilizing at the beginning. And it kind of freed me from that painting in between the lines that I was practicing for so long. That being said, it was very important for me to learn these things, and I talked about this multiple times during the previous streams, that there is I think it was last Friday, I believe, the bad painting, really bad painting Friday, when I was talking about the composition. And the Rembrandt, how far high on that curve he was in terms of his knowledge, and what painting was at the time, and then he just completely shifted and changed his approach, which was so far ahead then people completely disliked what he was doing. What's actually one of the most adored paintings these days. So. You can see that the knowledge and understanding of what the painting is fully and completely actually paid off at the end. Unfortunately, he did not experience that. But we know how important that is to push that boundary. And you can push that boundary only if you understand what was happening previously. You can't just sit down and be like, oh, I'm just going to invent a new style of painting. It might happen. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it might be way more difficult than you might think. But you might stumble upon something revolutionary. I don't want you to, I don't want to get away from that. If you have these aspirations, please do so. And show us, because we would like to see. That's all I have to say. Since this is a visual art, I would like to see these new ideas. So yeah, like I said, I don't really want to waste that much of or burn daylight. So let's get right into this particular painting that I'm working on. And I know that I bothered you with this for so long, but that's what the painting is. It's just, it's not, for me especially. I've worked with layers, and not right now layers that I have that I'm wearing, but layers when it comes to painting as well. So it takes a really long time for me, and then I have to feel satisfied with the results as well, compositionally. Like I said, it's not at this point. It's not about just knowing how to paint the arms. It's about how to make or communicate with the viewer while painting arms. So yeah, I'm again out of the frame, and I'm sorry, but I have to go all the way back to my studio to see the painting in its whole, in its entirety, because that's something that is extremely important. And also, I have my mirrors right next to me, and I'm definitely going to do some observation and some adjustments. And as you might remember from Saturday, I was working on those sleeves they're still not where I want them to be, because it feels that it goes in and then kind of breaks. So I have to create the kind of a continuous feel right here. But it works as a cylinder right now from left to right. It just does not recede into space as much as I would like to. It just feels weird. For some reason it feels weird, and I have to figure it out, probably push that the tone, push it tonally a little bit more. So that would be one thing. I am actually feeling way better with this area right here. We kind of figured out the problem. It might be a little too orangey right now, but that's okay, because you remember I work warm and cool in when it comes to layers. And I think that would be the main. Those are like the main things that I have to really deal with right now, and then I can move to legs. And I think that he, as he stands, that would be it. I probably, unless something major happens around here, I don't think I will be making that many adjustments. I'm just going to bring it more and more into that developed stage when it comes to this figure. Here we have, with this figure, we have a little bit more to work with. I would say probably this arm right now looks a little disconnected. I want to push it a little bit more. And it's because I was adjusting these things. This arm has to go a little bit more towards us because that's something that that I'm kind of well, not necessarily struggling with, but I think that will bring a lot of that kind of a depth of field there, right? Because it feels that it is because when I'm looking at the face, and it has way more development than the hand right here. And the problem is that they right now look that they don't belong to each other. Plus the hand and the development of a hand, or resolution, or the point where the hand is right now, it's very close to what's behind, right? In terms of that perspective was not linear, but atmospheric perspective. I'm just, my brain is still processing some visual imagery, and it's difficult for me to talk anyway. So in case of atmospheric perspective, this looks the same way than this and this, right? So it feels it's on one plane, so it's pushing this area way too far in a distance, and I want it to go forward, right? I don't want it to recede in the background. I want it to go forward. Then I have to bring a little bit more lighter value to this guy, because he right now looks like he's completely in shadow, because the tone of his garment falls into shadow category, and he cannot be in the shadow. Some areas can be in shadow, this down, something that is down right here, but I have to lighten up this area right here, just a little bit. And when I say lighten up, I just need to create, and actually not create, design a nice light pattern. So I think I might continue with that kind of a diagonal. So perhaps something, like along those lines, that there's just going to be some light areas right here. But I'm not sure, because I want to keep the shoulder forward, right? So the contrast is going to be very, very important there. So that's kind of a setup for today. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to do, but I hope that you see, let's say, the most important difference is that, these are properly, when it comes to value, and he is really, really dark. And I pushed him dark, you remember, because I wanted to know how far I have to go, how far I can go with the shoulder sticking out. So that's kind of like a beginning stage of what I want to do today. And right now I have my mirror here in front of me. I'm looking into the reflection, and it's giving me like that upside down image. And I have to move a little bit further, because I can't see the image as a whole. So I'm backing up all the way. think it's getting along pretty okay. I like the proportions right now. So when it comes to proportions, I think that we're good. We're golden. Because it doesn't appear to me that the head would be a little too big or a little too small. Remember, I had that problem. We adjusted the shoulders a little bit because I think that he was too narrow and too long, and it kind of brought that visual. I wanted to, you know, enlarge the head because it still felt like he's he's too tall, right? So making him a little wider automatically helped that impression of him being, you know, correctly proportioned, right? So, and also I have this mirror that I use here. It's when I'm trying to flip this upside down, and this mirror that I have all the way in back, this is when I'm flipping it from left to right. So one is horizontal, one is vertical flip. And I have to use both all the time. And I actually set up my studio the way that I can take advantage of this all the time. So something to look for. And we started that conversation about observing and analyzing your painting. So I want to take this opportunity to go into what is in my head while I am making these decisions and adjustments. Another thing that I need to start thinking about is that at this stage, how do I want this to look at the end? Like, what's the final not the result? What's the final image? How far do I want to push it? And when it's enough, and, you know, move to another project perhaps. So that's pretty complicated because I have and especially if the range of painters that you really like ranges from you know, Middle Ages all the way to modern art, right? So it spans from you know, from Giotto and his, you know, his work, which is like very early Renaissance. I also like to be inspired. I like to I am inspired by early icons as well. So, you know, so it starts somewhere along those lines. And also, you know, we go to Greek and Roman sculptures, you know, so it's just really, and the Egyptians, you know, they started with that canon, and it almost feels like Egyptians, then the Greeks stole from Egyptians, and the Romans stole from Greeks, almost, because they have a similar canons. They're advancing on these canons. So yeah. So, you know, going back to when I was talking about visualizing that final piece, and the problem is that, you know, sometimes I feel like the painting could be a little bit more, a little bit rougher, right? So it has kind of a rough application to it. And the other times I feel like maybe a little softer. So it evoked that kind of a golden age of 19th century. And you remember I talked about this. There is a difference between creating roughness of the material by applying pigment with a certain, the certain way, and then actually when I pointed out to, like a Bouguereau or Alma Tadema, these guys were actually describing material by painting in a certain way, rather than just applying different textures. And I like a bit of both. It's just difficult to put them together, mesh them together, because they don't really sit well, very well next to each other. So that's that kind of a dilemma that goes through my head, right? Am I looking at some kind of a more like a impressionistic painting, or am I drawn more towards that 19th century high peak of a classical style? And because I like both, it's really difficult for me to choose one. And I think that, you know, I mentioned Nikolai Feshen, and he was really, for me, the true master of both technique, like incredibly skillful draftsman. And then his abstract paint application is out of this world. And I saw his paintings. I saw his actually large diploma painting, which is called Kapusnica, I believe. It's just these. It's a very famous painting, and there are these women, people on the market, or you know, like a village market or village. I don't know. It's just it looks like a market when there are women dressed in a folk costumes, you know, and they were probably not folk at that time. They were kind of a regular costumes that they wear, or dresses which they used to wear daily, selling and, you know, cleaning cabbage. So it's a beautiful painting, and it's hung in our school in the museum that belongs to school, and you can go there and you can see it every day. And I used to do that. I really enjoyed to look at that painting, and I admire it every day. I think that's the best I can. You know, that's the best of both worlds. Like, you know, that precise 19th century draftsmanship. Together with complete abstractness, like he's throwing pigments left and right, almost randomly. And he actually, when you observe it, it almost looks like it's a pure pigment. You know, time to time, you know, many times let me rephrase it. Many times I look at his paintings, it almost feels like, oh, I need a red. You remember I demonstrated with that. I was demonstrating it with that Rembrandt copy that we did, and he just, you know, like scoops paint pigments and just place it there, and then go to a different pure pigment and place it there, and somehow he's creating that optical illusion of, you know, proper value, tone, saturation, opacity, textures, and all with one brush strokes. It's amazing to be there and see it in real life. I think that's something incredible. So I wish I could go and visit that place again, and, you know, maybe do some studies, because we were allowed to do studies there. No one really did, but I did it. So, you know, I have some cool memories from that museum. That it's part of the school, which is awesome, because you can always just go there and visit. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at this, and probably I still right now the most pressing issue for me are those two sleeves, because they seem like they're not developed enough. I have enough information here. Well, maybe this area, but it's going to be actually adjusted by this shape, right? Because that was going to be the major. That is going to have a major influence on that. Yeah, that's probably the biggest problem I have right now. And the problem is, it has layers. That problem has layers. And you remember I talked to you about how difficult how important for me is to reserve that thick pigment application or impasto painting. How important for me it is to leave it to when I'm absolutely certain. And I was certain, and I created a lot of impasto here. So right now it's a little bit more challenging to correct these things, because you can still see it there. You can still see that that the shoulder was all the way here. I can still see it because I see those impasto that it's there. So that's quite challenging. And then I have to go a little bit more saturated in these areas. This has to go darker and slightly bluer, because again, it was too warm, it was too cool. I'm warming it up. Right now it's too warm. I'm gonna make it, I'm going to make it less warm. And it's kind of neutralize that. Because when you layer one pigment on top of another in the different areas, you can just use one mixture and you think that you're gonna correct everything. It's going to, you know, looks perfect, because it's disconnected right now. So I have to connect it, and I have to find that proper connection there. So yeah. Yeah, sleeves are the main thing. And then this hand, it just, when you look at it, it's completely desaturated compared to these. This is more in that, you know, tonal area. And this is way more in that kind of a new impressionistic, you know, a little brighter pigments, a little bit more power to those, you know, to those colors. Yep. So let's get right into it. I'm just gonna, again, and since I'm working mostly from the imagination, and this is, and I know I talked about this a lot, sooner you start working from your imagination, more freedom you're going to get. Of course, ideally, and you know, at this stage, I know that this might look like this is a sketch, or you know, a fragment painting or testing painting, a little bit too big on the scale, but I needed to go into this large scale only to also experiment with that size. And this is something that you really have to think about when you are trying to come up with the size. My size of this of that painting right here should be 2 by 3 approximately, plus minus some centimeters, depends on the proper scaling ratio, right? That's a painting that you don't see being painted every day when it comes to figure paintings. And since you don't see it every day, there is not that many information about how to approach such a painting, like a painting on that scale. It's very similar when you work with a smaller painting, but then there are some areas that you know, especially in, you know, place the brushstroke and go all the way back into a studio to see how the brushstroke relates to everything else. It's something that it's a little bit more challenging when it comes to space and time. And also, you know, that's a different feel when you have portraits, the almost a life size, right, or very close to life size, and trying to relate them to each other in that kind of a atmospheric perspective, let's say, that I didn't expect. And then also going from top to bottom, right, or left to right, I'm looking at his feet, and I have to take in consideration whenever I paint feet, what's happening on his face, right? So these are the, you know, when it comes to the size, right? So it is completely different experiment, and I didn't want it to go into 2 by 3 having the same issues and problems that I have right here, right now, because this is a focal point that has to be developed properly. I know that it's going to be difficult for me to, you know, repaint it one-to-one, but that's okay. It's not as big of an issue as coming up with that idea. And that's why I said that it's very important for me to work from imagination, because like I mentioned multiple times, if you took a picture of, let's say, this, And you saw how many times I moved it because I found that different areas. If I'm only capable copying what is in front of me and not being able to create from my head, I would be stuck with that image. And it would definitely ruin the composition. It would even ruin my motivation to continue painting. I'm pretty sure that that's what would happen, because I know myself, that's what happens all the time to me. So I like to go outside of that, oh, this is what I see, this is what I paint. And not because what I see, it's not, let's say beautiful, like nature, but there is a difference in what nature is showing to you and what you want to communicate by using a nature, if that makes sense. And if not, I'm sorry. Just stop watching right now. That's what I have to say. And you can see me, pacing back and forth. And that's that, process of analyzing and trying to, make sure that with my observation, I covered all the steps. Plus, today is a special day. For those of you who are big fans of chess, as I am, today is the first match of a world champion, for a world champion, So I might be a little distracted when it comes to painting, because I want to switch from streaming to actually watching a live stream of that game. Or actually that match rather, because they are in the first game. So if there are fans of chess here, please do not tell me what the result is, because I want to see it. I want to feel that pressure. I want to calculate with them. It's just it's something that I was waiting, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah. So if there are any chess fans, this is the time to watch chess. Okay, I got distracted. Okay, let me put the gloves on so I'm in that painting mode. Well, that's a valid point, actually, that you mentioned right now. It's a very, very valid point. And here is the thing. I believe, truly, both decisions are beneficial. Like if you reach the point where you're satisfied with your painting and you really like it, that's the time to stop. That's really the time to stop. If you are not, on the other hand, satisfied with that, and again, when I say satisfied, I'm talking about you compare it to your skill, right? I know that I can do better. I know because I already did, right? So that's why I'm pushing further and further, because I know that I already painted. And when I say painted better paintings, I mean I painted better arms, I painted better portraits. So I know that I can advance this even more forward, right? When it comes to composition, that's another thing. I know that I can always do these small adjustments to get it even better. So yeah. And coming back to these decisions, I know that I need to work on the shoulder. But I can't just work on the shoulder and the upper part of the arm, because everything that I'm doing here, of course, it's relating to the whole painting, but even more to the immediate surrounding, right? So I said that I'm going to work here on this guy. Well, the reason is because this guy is going to relate to the shoulder is going to relate to to a torso, and so on and so forth. So when I'm thinking about adjustments, I am thinking about adjustments from the point of view that, okay, I need to adjust this, but this is, this lives next to him, so he needs to be adjusted as well. Or, he doesn't need to be adjusted, but he needs to be taken into consideration, right? And I'm talking about he because this is the person and his shape right here. So, okay, let me find some. Oh, it's -5 outside. I just saw it on my cell phone. The temperature. And I'm going into some faults, so I'm going to find some references with faults that I have here, and especially with the arm faults, right? And we're looking for something that fits to this kind of a fabric, right? Also something that fits to the kind of a direction, right? So for shortening, and also something that would something that has a nice shape. And if I can't find anything like that, because probably I won't, and I will combine multiple different ideas, right? So I'm thinking about the fold designing from, let's say what Bridgman was talking about, also what Will Weston, for example, he's pretty good with folds and designing folds and designing shapes for folds. First of all, they're believable, and second of all, they're very nice to look at, right? So this is something that I'm looking for currently with my in my library. And I'm pretty sure that if you open internet and you ask for folds, you will find like hundreds upon hundreds of resources to work with. I mean, you have these great illustrators like Leyendecker, or what was the one that we talk about? N.C. Wyeth, father of Andrew Wyeth. These are all really, really talented draftsmen when it comes to designing folds and composing them. But when I'm thinking about this, I don't want to get too crazy, because then again, a fault might overpower. This is already such a, not complicated, but area with a lot of things happening there. I don't want to push it even more. I just want to make something a little bit more interesting. And especially when I say interesting, I'm looking for outside shape right now, because that's what bothers me, because it's just a straight line when you look at that. It's really just a straight line. And it's kind of boring, right? And I want to show that it's three-dimensional, so I need something a little bit more. But I probably keep it very flat, right? So I don't want that many folds. And shadows, I will probably keep fairly simple as well. But because of that, it's still wet. That's another problem, that it's still wet. So I can't really go and scrape. Well, maybe I can. Let's see. I'm gonna grab my razor, if I only can find it. Where's my razor? Who took my razor? who was in my studio again, and oh, was underneath my T. Okay. Softening that a little bit, and I can immediately see some good, beautiful results there when it comes to randomness. I didn't really push it that hard. It's a silly T-nom. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have these little little helpers around that they just, you know, make my day a little bit more enjoyable with hiding things around. And it's funny because they follow me, you know, from LA to St. Petersburg to here. So I don't know, it can be pretty annoying. Yeah, they can be a little naughty. Yeah. I apologize for that, you know, like that scratching noise, but that's what slightly getting rid of that, or a little bit, getting kind of evening out that texture. And the beauty of this is that I am exploring things underneath, and can't really see it on the camera. But maybe I could grab the. Let me see if this is going to work. Just to show you what I mean when I'm scratching, and I'm just going to detach my. Oh. Is it going to? Yep. So it's giving me that kind of a weird it's uneven. I don't know if it's visible. I hope it is visible because I'm trying to look at the canvas, look at the screen if you can see it. So this would be something that I was talking about when it comes to these random textures. It's let me set it up. Okay. When it comes to it kind of give that aged effect, but also it creates a little bit more interest between, you know, in such a, I don't want to say simple thing, but it's that play of underlayers and underpaintings, and you know, since we're taking so much time to get to that, you know, layering stage, I want to take advantage of it. But problem is that, you know, I have something like this here, I don't have it here, and certainly not on this side, so it feels disconnected right now. So I'm going to use it a little bit there, then I'm going to go and do the same thing on the other side, right? Here in this area, for sure it's going to happen because there is a lot of pigment there. Here as well. But this needs a little bit more time to dry because I was applying the thicker paint there. So I can't go there immediately. But that's something that really kind of it softens things. It softens these transitions next to each other, and it creates that kind of interesting different textures. So, and the reason why I want that texture is that when you remember we talked about Rembrandt, he also has these, you know, intricate kind of a randomness there. I don't know how he get to that level. or to that kind of a stage, whether he was painting it all directly or was layering and scraping as well. It's hard to say for me. I haven't seen him to work on those paintings, unfortunately, but this is the method that I use. And it's not the only one. You have plenty of others, so don't really get caught in these things. And again, don't do this unless you are certain what's going to happen. Well, not what's going to happen. Don't do this unless you are ready to even ruin something that you like in order to get something that it's even better. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to, since there is a little, I scraped existing paint and I scraped some of a texture away so I can go there with my trusted wine charcoal. And I have some ideas, perhaps, with these faults. I'm just not sure yet what do I want to do with this. This one looks pretty decent. So I might use this as a reference. And I might use this as a reference as well. So I'm looking for different folds, like I said. It might be, it might be fold design. It might be, like kimonos and so on and so forth, like a different, like some monks that I have here, all kinds of stuff. I don't really, I don't really care as long as I find a nice, interesting shape to work with. That's the only important part that that I care about. And again, nothing too complicated, nothing that would overpower other parts, because I want to make sure that that so many interesting shapes to choose from. I'm kind of overwhelmed by this. And this is a process that you might want to have sorted already when you paint like this. I don't know why I didn't. Well, maybe because I was changing it throughout the process. Perhaps that's something to take into consideration as well. This is not the one that I need. Maybe I could use some of the previous one that I used. Like the ones that I used as a references to start with. Perhaps that will be something that might be beneficial. So many different faults to choose from. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the one that, or the shape that I prefer. So I can lock it in and just don't move it anymore under any circumstances, because then we again gonna go back and forth with these things. I change the shape a little bit, would that be such a big problem? Would he be then too wide on the top? Maybe not. Maybe not. Perhaps not. Yeah, let's try that. Definitely. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Maybe I could adjust this one as well. Then, well, I'll see. I need to focus on the. Or maybe I'll just do this one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Yeah. Just last, I'm just trying to make sure that yeah. I think I can do this. So I have this, I'll bump it here. So I create the shoulder here, and it goes up right here. It's going to be a half tone, and then I can create small little area right here. Yep. that will kind of change that that feeling that everything is the same. Yeah. Is it going to make him bigger? I hope not. Because this part is all about that outside edge right now, to make it interesting but not too complicated, so it does not overpower anything around that. And I know that you cannot see very much right now because it's like I'm drawing with that with the charcoal. And it's a dark charcoal on a dark background too. But I can see it, and I think this is going to work a little better. Maybe I could even, yep. So let's get some of the pigment going. Let's see. This may be too light. Even a little bit darker, and let me hit it with a little bit of that, just a touch of blue. Because I want to keep the saturation going. Yeah, this seems better. and I can make it even darker here. Looking for that half tone. And the silhouette. Yeah. That will give me a space to do a little bit more in that. Let me hit it a little bit more with a shadow. So let's maybe go with this guy. Again, saturation, and it would go this way. A little stronger. Maybe a little bit of that. Maybe a little of that green. Push the saturation even more. Cool. Okay, a little darker there. And I feel like this is right now just one continuous thing, so let me just break it a little bit. A little darker value right here. Can do similar thing here with these triangles right here. I want that randomness, kind of a brushy feel to it there. So it, has that feeling of fabric being folded randomly. And then this is going to definitely be a little darker. Yep. It's immediately has a little bit more volume, a little better vibe to it when it comes to but maybe I should use a softer brush to do this in some areas. Because I want to keep that I want to keep a half tone as well there. So I'm painting into, wet and wet right now, because I like that combination of a dark pigment kind of mixing together with that light underpainting that I put there, which is kind of creating that edge that kind of rolls away from me, and it gives a randomness. So I'm not being precise, I'm just, kind of thinking where it should be and then just having fun with it. Maybe it could go, maybe I could do this. Let me see, I just saw that this would be cool as well, to hit it there. Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit more, interesting. And then maybe if I push this a little bit more, like a little darker, so it kind of rolls away from us. Touch of this and this. And then maybe could hit it with a half tone right here, because I wanna create that division between, I need something here for that hand, to separate it from, because it's dark on the it's a dark value or darker value on the darker. You remember I talked about these silhouettes and how they affect this way and maybe here. Yep. Let's get here, just a touch. So I have some variation there. And then maybe I could push this area right here darker, to show that it's curving away from us. Shoulder, rolling away rather than moving away. Not bad. And then maybe hit it even darker here, or maybe lighter here. Oh, maybe darker here. Let's see. Yeah, that might work. Softening this. Because there's, you know, as I talked about before, there's not that many, that you don't need that much to create that feeling that form is rolling away from us. It doesn't need to be really, really Yep. Yep, way better. Or we created slightly different fold, and that's what I was looking for. That I'm really, really okay, cool. This needs to go way darker. I'm satisfied with this way more than where it was before. It's just, it better represents the position for the hand, right? So you remember when I was talking about that underlying structure underneath that, well, that's what was really ruining that feeling. It still needs to be improved. That's okay. That's acceptable or expectable. Is that an expectable word? I'm expecting. I was expecting that. It's just so this could be a half tone actually, maybe even lighter half tone right here to break that even more. Right here. Right? Yeah. Cool. And then this bothers me a little bit. It seems way too light. Oh, way too dark, I'm sorry. Way too dark. This could maybe go a little darker rather. Maybe even darker. Soft transition here, because I don't want that to be, you know, two-dimensional. I just want it to recede into the background slowly. But it needs to be a little lighter here. And what I'm doing right now, I'm doing these patches of light. You remember we talked about Vermeer there before. I'm just trying to create the light values there. And then I have this dark value here. Put it as a reflection right here into my hand. Well, into his forearm rather. You know, to create that dark light, dark light, dark light connection, because I want to separate this from and this might be a little too dark. So let me lift that pigment a little bit. So right now I placed the pigment there. It's a little too dark in that corner, so I'm wiping my brush and I'm just going to soften it a little bit. And especially here. Nice. Okay. Yep, we are getting there, slowly but surely. And right now I see that here could be a little lighter as well, this area right here. Just a touch. Just a touch lighter. And transition here could go a little lighter as well. Nice. Okay, so we have one, we have a second one. Here it could be a little darker, so it moves this way. Cool. And then we have a really dark value. Yeah, way better right now. And then this is going to be the lightest area right here. This can still go a little darker, but I'm not sure right now because I want to change this guy right here. So I might wait for that a little bit. So let me see if I can nudge him a little bit more towards where I want it to be. And this is going to be strange, but I'm just going to use like this kind of orangey color as my base. And the reason is because I want to test that idea of if he's blue, or blue, he's black with a little bit of blue into it. So if I push this little redder, I know that the warmth, it's going more towards us. But if I make it desaturated red, it's going to, I hope it's going to work nicely, like the red-green kind of a pigment there. Because I want him, because these guys are a little further away, so he's a little closer, so he cannot be as blue as these guys when it comes to that atmospheric perspective, or that as neutral rather than blue. I still want to keep it a kind of a darker value, but I need to make it a little bit different hue. So I'm experimenting with this red a little bit. Dry brushing it in. I think it might work. And I'm dry brushing it because I want little more saturation on the top, but I still want to keep it fairly dark value. So it's not going to change that much. Just scumbling on top. And if it's not going to work, I can always, scumble another pigment on top of this. Okay. Softening a little bit. Yeah, and then, yeah, and I can then scumble a little bit more like a neutral, or maybe, yeah, let's neutralize that redness with this green. The last piece of transparent green. It creates kind of a nice, vibrant, desaturated pigment. Yep, cool. In between. Might be a little too much, but it's okay. Touch a little too much, but it's okay because then it's giving me a nice kind of a transitions here, which I'm fairly okay with. And you know, when I'll go do a second pass later on with a little less saturated value, it's going to nicely no, I haven't. I'm not. I'm sorry, but I haven't had a chance to go to Vienna yet for pigments, and yeah, I'll have to struggle with that. Maybe I'll find some more somewhere here, or then I will have to, you know, make my own transparent green. It's just a little hassle, but you know, it is possible. So I'm excited about experimenting with that as well. Okay, so I have this. Right now I need the other side. I need to work a little bit with that hoodie part, and I think that we're on we're doing good, I think. Not sure though, not 100%. To create a little bit more of that. And remember, I also trying to change a little bit of that little bit of his shape. And the reason is because, you know, I did that sketch, random sketch, and I kind of saw something there that I liked. So yep. So he appears a little bit closer than they are. But right now he's maybe a little too close, maybe a little too saturated. Let me see if I push it a little bit more here as well, a little darker value. Okay, maybe a little higher this. Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's something more interesting that I was looking for there. Cool. Okay. And I need to make it lighter here because I think it's just too dark and it's overpowering that, occlusion right there. So we can soften it a little bit. Because this shouldn't be in the dark, that should be in light. When we think a little bit, when we think about these principles of light, it's not necessary, but I think that it would help to punch that darker values that are, on the figure on the front, right? And that would separate that again, because I have that value range that I want to work with when it comes to figure, the main figure, and then as it goes outside, in the depth, in the atmospheric perspective, I want it to be less. Won't this shadow be closer to each other? Plus, doing this, it's creating that kind of a texture as well. I don't know if you can see it. It's just kind of creating the kind of a weird. It might be a little too saturated when I'm looking at screen, but I need that saturation there because again, I was falling into the trap of making everything monochromatic. And maybe this would be a time for me to draw that jug there as well. Because right now, if it's like warm as much as this, you remember I can always go with like a blue on top of it and it's going to create these the randomness there. And I think that I could support it. Well, let me see if I can do this. Might be a little too much. Yeah, I think this needs to go a little more purplish than reddish. Like that kind of a green purple I can imagine there. Because again, like let's say this shadow, when I pushed it, I thought it's going to be a little bit more transparent, but it isn't, so I have to soften it. Because it's too dark of a shadow. It cannot be that dark. It almost looks like it has holes, right? So, plus there will be a lot of reflection even right here from the book. So I would have like a red. Yeah, way better. just a little bit. So there is a shadow right there, and then yeah. So I have to work on the fingers right now because those are pretty bad. Oh, overall hand right here right now looks pretty bad, and also this hand as well, right? So maybe push the shadow here a little bit to give it a little bit more separation, like a darker value there. And all these adjustments are happening, or like all these adjustments that I do right now, they're strictly visual, right? So I'm going all the way back and I'm asking myself, does this help improve that kind of a three-dimensional feel to it, or it doesn't? You can't really judge it from here. I can't. No one can. Maybe Rembrandt could. But I doubt that. And even if he could, he would probably double check and look from a distance. Okay, and right now what I think the only part that it's missing is to figuring it out this. Maybe this could go darker. Like, to create more like a wedge there. And this could go lighter. So I don't have the same edge on both sides. Here as well, maybe. Just to create something interesting there, to connect that, to push it a little bit more. Might be too much though. Maybe I should change the shape a little bit. Let me just grab this pigment a little bit. And adjust it a little bit. It could go a little darker here. It's still wet paint there, I guess. Maybe I could connect it here. Since there's the bulge there, right? So I don't break it with those lines there. So it has that kind of a natural continuation line there. Maybe soften it a little bit. Okay, I can still work on that because I'm not sure if that's what I like. But yeah, I have right now a couple more issues. I don't like the hoodie and how the hoodie works right now, and definitely this needs to be addressed. This area right here. This, I have to figure this out properly. That's going to be the most pressing issue right now. And then I can go and work with this a little bit more. And when I say a little bit more, I just want to make it a little bit more three-dimensional again, because it's flat. And I feel like this size of his forearm, yeah, it's slightly smaller than the other ones. Just a touch. And it's not even that it's smaller, but you know, I divide it into two halves, right, with the shadow. So I have a shadow that's exactly the same length, like a light, right? So I need to make it a little bit more, a little more interesting. And definitely more saturated. Yeah, definitely more saturated. So he has almost everything in place. Like I said, the biggest challenge right now is going to be, I think, fingers to make them look good, and not like like the sausage links or whatever the proper term would be. These guys are being really damaged. Where is it? There it is. My tea got really cold. So let me go. I'll be right back. Let me just go and make it a little warmer. Just to say, I see there's some comment here, so let me. Geez, I think I understand you a bit more. My original plan is to work more on foreground. You can guess what happened. Work on everywhere but that part. Yes, that's. It's just you just made my day with this statement, and not because I am being like a malice or anything like that. I'm just really. Enjoying the fact that you pushed yourself to do something, something that it's out of your comfort zone, and if it's not working the way that you expected, that is okay. That's the part of that, exploration, which is awesome. That what makes me happy. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it right now. You must. You must. And while you're enjoying yourself, let me just go and get a little bit more tea or warm water. So I'll be right back. Just a second. I'm right here. Okay, successfully, I successfully returned. So let's see, what do we have here? Oh, that's better. It's a little warmer. Okay, awesome. And plus, I would encourage you to, time to time, just step away from your painting, not only as a distance, but not look at it for a second. So again, your eyes are not getting tired and not tired. So your eyes will have a chance to see something else. So you're not zeroing in and, because your eye will naturally try to adjust to what it's looking for, or looking at, rather. And it would push you to, desaturate all these things. And it always happens to me. I have like a really high saturation, and then as much as I'm looking at that, it's my eyes trying to be like, no, it's just too much, soften it, so it's easier to look at. But then when you step back, and you go away and you come back, everything is going to be very much desaturated and almost monochromatic. And you want to keep that beautiful, fresh saturation there. Something to keep in mind while you're working, and especially if you're sitting. This is what was happening. What was happening to me while I was sitting, because I prefer to sit before when I paint. I'm trying to switch to another fold, so I have the variety. Maybe I could push this one a little bit more that way. That might be kind of cool. So I would push him down and then out. Well, it's not a pressing issue right now, because I think that since I changed that kind of, that variation is there right now, I need to deal with this guy right here. So let's search for let's look for some folds that they, folds, foreshortened folds. That's what I should probably look for. Which surely I will not be able to find. Maybe if I push it a little lower. Well, maybe I can create these, like those classic triangles. Let me see. There's no luck. So I have to simply invent them. There's no other way. So let's see, let's have fun a little bit with this. But perhaps at least some kind of a drapery guide would be beneficial. I don't have any. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's I guess we can invent something. So let's put it. The problem is that I have that hand right there, and it kind of changes that. The problem, I see the problem. Okay, so let me, this is the issue right now, why it looks that bad. Because I have a elbow that it's sticking right up, right? So this tube, when we think about that tube, remember I was using, where did I put it? Did I throw it away? Yeah, I did. So I have that. This represents the area between the elbow and the shoulder, right? So as I move it up, it just goes this way, right? So this would be the foreshortening this way, right? So this is where the problem starts, that I actually created a proper opening and also proper curves right here, right? So it's wrapping around. A problem is with the hand right here, that that hand sits on the shoulder like would be in the rest position. It's not extended, but it's resting right here. And therefore, that is what breaks the form. I don't know if you can see it, but hopefully when I point it out right now, you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So that's a no-no. So I have to probably repaint that hand. But then I like how it works there, so I don't know what to do right now. Maybe just make that hand a little bit more foreshortened as well. But then it's just going to repeat itself. So I found the problem, and right now I have to figure it out how to fix it, and I'm not sure how. Right, because I'm thinking about that. You know, when you think about, let's say, like, I'm thinking about this hand like a cast shadow. So if you're casting a shadow over a curve, it has to follow the curve. Right now, the fingers are not following the curve. Like that footprint of that arm, or the footprint of those fingers, or would it be fingerprint? Well, if I would trace, if I could trace a surface area where that hand is touching the shoulder, and I would think about only that will have to follow the same rules as a cast shadow, right? So it has to wrap around that surface. And right now, it's kind of pushing that arm to that kind of a broken stage. So it's from the shoulder, it's going straight down, and that's sticking up with this, right? So it doesn't go continuously into that Z axis. So I could perhaps, bleed, maybe push this right here and cut the fingers there. And push a little higher. Would that be? Yeah, I think that's what has to happen. Unfortunately, I was very satisfied with the position and placement for that hand, but it seems that it has to go, which is going to cause a lot of problems, because then I'm going to raise it a little bit higher up. It might fall into a Well, this is annoying, but there is no other way. I think that there is no other way to, I don't see how I would be able to change that. Unfortunately. Let me maybe do a little bit more of that research before I get. Not necessarily research, but let me see different ideas that I had before, how to move the hand, or where to move the hand, or where to place the hand rather. Well, the reason why it worked before, because everything was a flat shape, right? When I started, so it was a flat shape next to a flat shape. It was that design decisions. And right now, the moment I started to bring that volume into it, but maybe if I, okay, let's try this. Let me see if I have a. Let me see if I have a. Yeah, I might have a difficulty. I probably have to redraw the hand completely, because there's no other way. from a different angle. I'm afraid that that's what has to happen. So yeah, let's just paint that. Let's just paint the fold properly and then repaint the hand. Or should I start with the hand, position the hand properly, and then move towards the fold? Or should I just leave it as it is and end upstream and start crying and crawl up into a fetus position? What's the correct answer? Yeah, I probably could do that. But then, you know, there's no other way. I should probably have, because the problem is that I can't really, I have to see it as entirely, this is difficult to describe. What I need to do is to see how that hand actually would look on the shoulder. So this is probably the first moment that I would have to, that I would like to use a life model, because I can't really, because it's a foreshortening of a hand, which is really, really a difficult task. And everybody, you know, whoever painted foreshortened hands, you guys, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. It's just extremely, extremely annoying to deal with. Or should I just risk it and, you know, go for it and, you know, make it. And make it up myself? I don't know. Well, I guess I could. Yeah, let's repaint the hand. That's the only thing that I can do. I could perhaps to make that is this a little bit more visible, or is it too close? Well, I guess like this. You see the problem? I guess you can't see the problem right now. I don't even know if I'm holding the phone right. So this is what I'm struggling with, and it's really annoying at this point, but annoying in the good sense, right? It's just let me just adjust the camera so you can see the palette again. So you love it though? Okay, all right. Well, that's cool, but you know, it's just, and this is a great lesson for all of you who watch this video, is that this is why I'm so annoyed by moving it, because I really like the shape, I really like the design, and I'm not afraid that, you know, that I wouldn't be able to repaint it. That's all good, but sometimes you have that feeling, the inner voice that you know, like you unlock that impressionistic inner ability, just, you know, place a couple brushes there and you feel, okay, this works. It's right placement. It's a right gesture. It works together as a whole, right? I like that what's happening right here. It's a nice kind of a rotation there. when it comes to, you know, looking at that person. And that's why it's so difficult to repaint it. But again, that's that decision. Is it going to, what can I do? What other options do I have to make this work? Well, one cool idea comes to mind. And this is, again, you have to have a lot of hours spent with, you know, with looking through different pictures from different painters to know that, oh, perhaps I could use Caravaggio's help because he has that famous painting with the foreshortened hands, right? So I'm going to check for that painting and see if that could be a good guide for me to. Well, because, you know, if you don't have this library in your head, it's very difficult just, you know, to go and start searching for hands and, you know, trying to find the hands. Or was it Velázquez or was it Caravaggio? I don't remember right now. I might be, because I remember I copied a lot of hands from Caravaggio, so I think it was Caravaggio. Or was it Velázquez? And I made a fool of myself when I said that you have to have a lot of pictures and remember them. And I misidentified that. Let me go through Caravaggio first and then see. I think it was him. No, it was Caravaggio. I remember that. It was that. I remember there was a supper at Emmaus. I can't remember that. So there's that foreshortened hand that it's extending, but it's completely different because I see a palm and I need to see the top part. So I cannot use that one, but it was a good try. Valiant effort on my part, but so I guess it's time to start, you know, inventing and working from the head again. Because I would spend hours in between these pictures, and I don't think I will get any closer to resolving this. Because there are so many options, and I can't really think of, you know, I can't really go into that with that idea, so that I will find the perfect hand. I might be inspired, but I don't think I'll be able to find the perfect hand there. Yeah, I'll simply move this a little higher. But then it's going to, I don't want to copy this. I like the negative shape here. Well, let's see. I mean, painting a foreshortened hand without, you know, directional light, it's really annoying. I mean, extremely annoying. But let's do that. Let's have fun. Let's make it work. So I know that I have to move this. So the hand is gone. All right, so I already placed the brush stroke there, so I can't go back right now. I can only repaint it over and over again. So let me create the folds first, and then I will try to perhaps like incorporate that hand there. So I could create those, you know, zigzags that I was talking about. So it's here, and then this could be a lighter area right here. The hand is gone. The hand is gone. And I could maybe, let me go into a lighter value. I need to squeeze more pigments there. I could maybe create like a fold right here. Kind of a cool one. Since I'm changing it completely. But I can immediately see that it's working better. It's just annoying. Just annoying. And then maybe one fold right here. And I made this little too. Okay, I have to clean my. Okay, I can use. Can I reuse this pigment? No, I can't. It's dried out from yesterday. Okay, so let me bring more pigments. White. And where do I have? Where do I have a yellow ochre? Is this a cadmium lemon? Just a touch of this lemon, because I might use this for a cooler for that transparent yellow ochre. Every little piece of pigment has to go out. No way we are going to waste this precious yellow ochre. Let's go. Okay, nice. Nice. Cool. So the hand is gone. Controlling this. Okay, all right, yeah. So I need a little bit more white. Oh, I could probably squeeze some transparent pigments so I can get that more saturation without changing it. It's transparent yellow. Okay, cool. Transparent yellow. All right, so I want little saturation here. And you can see that this almost didn't do anything to that pigment, but it's keeping, I want to keep the saturation up, and you can see that this is way more saturated right now, and it's still kind of, you know, I don't want to overmix it because I want to show through these areas right there. So it has that variation there. All right. So let me try one more time. Let me scrape this a little bit. I already put pigment there, which was not, which wasn't the right pigment. And that's another rule, or another rule. Good habit. If there's something, if you don't like your pigment or the hue or value, don't leave it there. Just get rid of it. Repaint it, remix it. This is going to be fold right here. So it nicely continue. Because if you're going to place the pigments that you don't like or brush strokes that you don't like, it's going to have a negative effect on your painting. And then trust me, I know that we were laughing at the little gnomes that can, you know, they're hiding the stuff around the studio. Trust me that they're not going to repaint this for you while you're going to be at home. Trust me that if anything, if I have a little experience when it comes to this ain't gonna happen. And you can see immediately that hand look way better, or that, you know, not the hand, the arm rather. And I have to push this little line there, this top part right here. It's kind of bulges out. So let's separate that, right? So it just has these folds, so they're bunching into each other. Right, on this side as well. So I have that nice kind of a, and then it kind of want me to do this. I should probably push this little line there, this edge right here. This is going to be halftone. Yep. And then I could push it maybe here a little more as well. Because it's kind of going out from that darkness, and then perhaps it could have a couple right here. At the edge, so it's creating the edge. So I have a top plane, side plane, and then it turns and rolls into a shadow. And it could go more like this, right here, into it. Into background, into his hair, around, and on the other side, which we don't see, but we don't care, because that's okay. Yep, way better. Immediately feels way better and more, you know. And you can see the power of that little bit of yellow, the saturation right here on the top. It's way more than here, so I can right now go and push this a little bit more if I so choose. But you know, since I'm trying to create that twist and the difference between them, I want to treat them slightly differently, right? When it comes to value, right? And then, well, perhaps, you see, because right now this finger was all the way here. I can still see a little bit underneath, so it was all the way here, right? It has no business being there. It would if the arm would go down. And that's what I was thinking, you know, that's probably that was in my mind, that it's okay. And when you look, it's interestingly, when you look at my my sketch, and I don't know if you can see it, it's way better right here. It's way better. It's for some reason when it was flat, I kind of, you know, because I haven't touched that hand for months, So let's hit it right now, since, you know, we created this mess together. I'm just going to blame all of you and keep you responsible. But let's fix it together. That's what I'm saying. So I could maybe, actually, hear me out here. I could push this finger right here and then make that the similar area right here. I think that might work. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Of course, I'm a, you know, I live in 21st century, 2024. Of course, I'm gonna blame everybody else, except myself. Of course, that's the name of the game these days. Let's blame everybody else. Let's blame, you know, I don't know. Let's blame, I don't know, Chuck Norris for my mistakes, right? Or Steven Seagal, I don't know. It's just random names that pop into my head. I hope I'm not going to insult any Steven Seagal friends. Or Seagal, Steven Seagal, rather. That's how I should probably pronounce it. That's how it works. So you see, you agree with me. Obviously, you have to agree because you want to blame somebody, of course. There's nothing better than just point the finger. No, he did it, she did it, they did it. It's our favorite pastime activity, I think. A little bunching there, and then let's hit it with the darker value as well, so we don't have only light values but a little bit of half tones. So these shadows, the half tones are a little bit more like dividing it nicely. So it's not necessarily dividing, but it's just a little bit more pronounced. That's what I'm looking for. And since I have I'm painting wet into wet, it's going to create these nice transitions automatically, hopefully. Because if not, I'm going to be not necessarily disappointed, but I'm going to blame you for that. Yeah. This might want to do maybe a little sharper transition, you know, so it's like a little pointier. Like from that movie with Sacha Baron Cohen, and he said, I think it's called Dictator, that movie, when he said that I want that racket with pointy head. It has to be pointy. It's a little bit more. It's more. It's scarier. So these faults needs to be a little pointier because they have more character. So I have that, and I can expand that light, kind of a nice saturated light here a little bit. It's going to push nicely. Ah, there is already that saturation. All right, cool, cool, cool. Noted, noted. Okay, and what about that hand right now? So let's hit it hard. Let's lock in, lock in and hit it hard. So a little bit of this orange. Actually, I can grab this pigment. Seems like appropriate. And I'm gonna do like a quick experiment. So I could push it, but I'm thinking I could push it this way here. One finger. Or maybe this guy could be here. Yeah, this guy could be here. This guy, it's right here. Then I have this one here, and the fourth one, it's going to be a little bit more this way. And that shouldn't destroy the overall feeling, I believe. And let's hope that it's going to look even better. And let's give him a little character. And I have to delete this guy. Unfortunately, this guy has to go. There's nothing I can do. Okay. And let's bring little lighter saturated values into play. And there is top part right here. Another right here. And then this guy right here. Right. And that previous finger could be actually a thumb, perhaps. Right? I should have squeezed a red as well, because this red, it's where do I have my, there it is. Okay, so let's examine it from a distance. Okay, yeah, I think this might work. I believe that this might work. Let's see. Let me examine this. Yep, let's go for it. Well, there's no other option, right? So. And again, I don't want to say that I was really worried, or I'm still worried about the result of this, but it's not like I'm afraid to repaint it. I know that I can paint it again, if anything, and that's the only thing that will actually force you, or not force you, that will help you to do these decisions. The moment that you stop believing that you can paint it equally as good, even the second time, you're not going to repaint it. So be prepared for these things. I mean, really, you have to trust that you are able to do that. Maybe make his fingers a little thicker. Right, and I even want to create that it's grabbing it a little bit harder. And this is a difficult part because, I'm trying to foreshorten these fingers, but they still have to be they have to have like a certain width to it, right? So because I'm looking at the nose, I'm comparing it to a nose, and I'm thinking about how big these fingers have to be if this is the size of the nose, right? So that's what's in my mind right now. And then perhaps it goes down here. I can show maybe side of that hand a little bit and push this maybe a little bit more here. So I'm trying to show that right now not only he's holding, but he's kind of pushing it, not pushing into it, like squeezing it. That's what I was looking for, squeezing that hand. So this is a one finger of this size. Yep. And there should be a side plane here as well. There's a back of the hand. And there is a finger right there. I think we're good. I think we're going to be all right. Maybe slightly wider. And I can show the side plane right here. And this is where the knuckle is going to be on this one. Not knuckle, the so it's not that bad. I think it's all right. I think that it didn't change that much of the overall feeling. Yeah, I think we're good. Probably adjust this a little bit to make it a little more connected, because it was too linear, like there was lines everywhere. Maybe thick right here. Let's soften these edges right here. So it feels that it's, you know, that the formula rolls away from there. And I'm going to leave the hand right now as is, because I need to do a couple layerings there, a couple more layers. Because I wanted to, again, saturate it a little bit more. But I think it works. You see, that's so important. I mean, if you are inspired to rework and make it better yourself, then, you know, it suddenly makes sense to work alongside. You know, it just gives you that little bit of push that we otherwise wouldn't do. And not because we don't want to, it's just that natural feeling of, oh, I painted it, I already spent so much time with it. How can I make it work? And then you are not thinking about how to make it work. You are convincing yourself that you are okay with this. And I wasn't. I just didn't know how to fix it. And I was worried, which way should I go? Should I paint the hand first or paint the sleeve? And truth to be told, painting a sleeve, it's kind of an obvious choice right now, because unless this is connected properly, and no matter how good the hand again is going to be, if it's in the wrong place, I have to repaint it again. So yeah, if you decided to work on your tree, that's awesome. That's awesome. But again, you have to make sure, you have to free yourself from thinking that, oh, I'm not going to make it better. Of course you're going to make it better. Every another brushstroke is making it better. It's just that hand, it's really important on that shoulder, because that's what makes this group connected. Or these two figures, right? It definitely won't be as bad. It definitely won't be as bad. It's going to be better. Trust me, it's going to be better. You just, you know, you don't see it maybe right now in this very moment, but you're going to continue working into it, and you will realize that, oh, it actually works. Why was I so worried? And right now, let me maybe make these darker adjustments here. Let me hit the dark value there. But I need really dark value because there is already pigment there, right? So I'm right now putting even darker value that I should probably, only because it's going to mix with existing lighter value, because I'm painting wet into wet right now. So I'm over exaggerating this. So let me shape the fingers a little bit more. And again, I'm thinking right now not about fingers necessarily. So this is a very important part. You remember I talked about Velasquez and then Vermeer. So I'm painting negative space right now, actually, truth to be told. And I'm keeping fingers connected. But, you know, as you go away from that, you're going to see, oh, it actually works as a fingers. Maybe I can push it even darker. I don't know. Maybe I could show a little bit of a knuckle right here, actually. So we have that kind of a transition. probably I could make this a little lighter around here right now, because it's falling into the same value, but a little too much. I want slight separation, just a bit. Maybe I could use this guy. Or let me just maybe really hit it dark and see what's going to happen. But warmer, darker value. I still want to have a color. I still want to have hue there, color, because I don't want a blackness there. I don't want a black. And then I have to show that, foreshortening, and not only that, and the reason why I want to work with this hand a little bit more, it's because I want to create that because they were using ink, so their hands were black. So I want to show that dirt behind, not dirt, that ink behind that, underneath those fingernails. I'm going to shape this a little better. This is a side plane right here. The question is if the fingers are big enough right now. I think they are. Okay, I'll definitely zoom it in with the camera. I mean, I'm satisfied with the position. It was not, and here's the thing. It's just a. It's a quick adjustment, but here's what's going to happen. I need to be careful when I go there, when I will get a little bit more detail. And it has to have more detail because it needs to be more developed than the fabric is, right? Because it's a key moment when it comes to there. I can actually, when I'm thinking about it right now, it's more like a. It's right now. It's not necessarily. It does not look correct. I mean, you can tell that those are fingers, but it still needs a little bit more like a play. And what I'm afraid of is that even though I know that in a foreshortened stage, this would be probably enough, maybe it should go a little bigger. Maybe. Let me see. Let me play with that a little bit more, but I'll definitely zoom into them so you can see what I did or what I didn't do. So maybe even higher, this guy right here. So I have enough space for two. And maybe I pulled him again a little bit more with the gesture so they're not symmetrical. So they're going under different directions, right? So it creates a little bit more of an interest there. Yeah, I think this is a better size. It's just too thin, so I'm going to push it a little thicker. here, and then this guy needs to go a little thicker as well. Because these fingers are foreshortened. Yeah. And that's, you know, this is always the biggest issue when it comes to foreshortening, how thick it has to be. Because it, you know, sometimes it's just too much. And maybe I push this guy a little higher, and this guy's going to be the lowest, right? Okay. So I have that kind of a motion there. You know, you don't. It does not have entertainment value. You're right, but you don't need to stop chatting so much. It's awesome. I appreciate it. It's just when you are, like you said, when you're invested in something, I'm here 100% with you, and you can tell how much. And I've been doing this for a while. How much of my attention it's taking. So keep. I will definitely get back to it as soon as I have a chance with all your questions. But I will definitely zoom into it. You know what? Let me just. And it's really getting cold here. Oops. It's really getting cold here, so I need to bring a little bit more tea again. And it's getting darker. What time is it, by the way? Yeah, the sun is gone. Sun is gone. Well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do like in between. So it's a little bit more entertaining, right? Even for you. Oops. Right. So this is where the fingers are right now. I don't know. Is it? Right. This is really just suggestions for these fingers. They're not really being painted properly, just so you see the process. So this is where I just moved it. They were right here, and I moved it all the way up, right? So that's where I stand right now when it comes to those fingers. Oh, so I'm I'm glad that you are indirectly cheering me up to do these things, and you would be right, yes, because I feel like this is a spotlight, it's on me, and I talk about the painting all the time, and it's time to show it, and then I would be stuck with these things, and truth to be told, I was not really convinced, and I'm still not convinced about the motion. Because right now it's kind of I don't want it to look static, but it's approximately a right place to work on that. And right now it's going to be a rigorous process of me analyzing it and over analyzing it and just I think it's okay. Maybe I pushed it a little too high on that index finger. But the only reason why I pushed that high on the index finger because I don't want to show that finger foreshortened, but locked. It's more like this. Where's the camera? More like this. I don't know if you can see it. right? So some of them are extended more, and then, so I have that little, I can't even, most of the time when you paint fingers, you can't put them into that, well, certainly I cannot put them into the position that I'm painting them in. Because hands are extremely expressive, but it's like with gestures. When you want to have a nice gesture, you have to exaggerate it, and the moment you're exaggerating it, it's just, you have to keep that balance between over-exaggerating and making it believably exaggerated and interesting to look at. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like a music note, there are notes that need to be pressed really hard. There are softer notes, and then there is that beautiful a moment of silence in between the notes, which is also incredibly important. And then again, it has to be more like a that's another part, perhaps why people think that this is more female-ish type, because even these hands needs to be a little bit more masculine, right? So it's everything together, So even the hold of the shoulder should be a little bit more like with some kind of a veracity, perhaps, almost like. I don't want to say that leave me alone, but I'm just pulling you with me, because I am that, the driving force towards, not me personally, but I'm talking about the cross guy, right? He's pushing forward everybody. And it's actually more and more, it looks like a Frodo and Samwise. It's just, I can't help myself. It's just maybe somewhere in the back of my head, that's what I thought. That's how it came to this stage, that even, everything seems a little too Tolkien-like when it comes to these ideas. And it's just, I am, trust me when I tell you that I'm not trying to butcher or copy or, parasite on that, what's the word that I'm looking for? Well, I'm not trying to stall, I'm not trying to steal, I'm sorry, I am not trying to steal Tolkien's ideas. It's just, it reminds me this. And when you think about that, even in Tolkien's books, hobbits look, it's just, you have hobbits and then you have dwarves in his book, and you can see how these two, hobbit and dwarf, how maybe they're similar on height level, right? But they're completely different when it comes to, like even the way how dwarves stands and how they present themselves against the hobbits is just this beautiful juxtaposition that differences between us, and the similarities again, right? So I push that shoulder a little bit more, and I droop that. Droop this, maybe even lower, and maybe I bring this. Maybe I should open this arm and push it also a little bit more. But then I don't want to copy this. Well, I don't know. It's just something needs to be adjusted. I need to adjust something. But I think that fingers looks good right now when it comes to size. But I won't be sure unless until tomorrow. And I think that, there might be even better right now, because when you think about it, they were both drooping this way. And right now I have one shoulder kind of drooping naturally down, and this one goes into a straight line. So it kind of creates that variety within the unity of being a shoulders. So this might be even the better position. And, you know, after all, it was necessary to do it. So, yeah, you see it? Okay, that's perfect, because that's what's happening right now, right? I had this rounded and this was rounded, and also the hand was kind of a rounded wrapping around. So that's why mathematically was similar, because also this hand looked like it's going down, same way than this one is. And right now it doesn't. It's just right now we're pushing it forward, which is important, which was important. It still is, though. No, there's not going to be crying. If there's going to be crying, crying is going to happen tomorrow morning when I come here, and this is going to be first thing that I see, and I'll be like, oh, not a good adjustment. Because I can't understand whether it's good or not immediately. Because I'm trying to, again, my brain is trying to rationalize this, that yes, you did a good choice because of this and that, you know. Let's hope it won't happen. Well, it's going to be behind the scenes, so I will again be here tomorrow if nothing major happens, and I'll be thinking about that till lunch, till the noon rather, and you'll see me already kind of I will be okay with what I see. You know, I will. And if not, in between, I would make the adjustments that are necessary. You know, I would prepare something to correct these problems. I'm pushing it even higher. Yeah, so I have that. Right now, another shoulder. It needs to be addressed. And when I say another shoulder, I mean the book guy. This one right here, because this is way too wag, I think. Well, maybe that's okay if it's wag. Let me see. Yeah, maybe that's okay. Maybe if I saturate the hand a little bit more, since I have these pigments right here. So I'm going to do something drastic again. It's for fun. Maybe I shouldn't, because I don't have this. I did not figure it out how to do this yet. No, I'm just going to continue with the fingers rather, because I wanted to bring a little bit more saturation here. Yeah. And I'm doing it. I'm so... please do as I say, not as I do, okay? Because I'm gonna... There's no point. There was no point for me doing this. For some reason, I had to. Couldn't stop, because I need to adjust again. I need to adjust a sleeves and the connection here, and it might happen that I will have to repaint that hand again. So it's pointless to do this right now. Let me focus on that hand to develop it a little bit more, since I'm working on that. And I have a palette laid down for that kind of adjustments. So let me shape it a little bit. More little red. that saturation. Now we're cooking. And again, I'm pushing this to maximum saturation only because I know that I have already pigment there. And when it touches together, you know, when it mixes together, it's just going to dissolve. Not dissolve, it's going to be less saturated. So I want to create a little bit more of that feeling of depth. And should I push it maybe this way? So I'll show that. Side. The only problem here is that I kind of have a general idea how that, you know, like right now when it's like a one shape, I kind of understand how it's supposed to look. A problem is that right now if I go into details, I don't exactly know what the positions for certain areas are going to be. When I say positions, like how am I going to create the shadow here? Am I going to push this side? Maybe. I don't know. Perhaps. Because I also need to create volume right now. And I have to create volume on the hand that's going towards me. And it's a frontal view. It's just like, why am I doing this to myself? I have no idea. Maybe for your entertainment, I guess. I don't know. To see me struggle here extremely. You cross your fingers that you're going to be happy. Of course, man. And here's the thing. If I'm not happy with it, that's okay. That is completely okay, because you know what? I can paint it again. And I'm not going to stop unless I'm satisfied. You know, like I said, when you check out the previous videos, they're not at Twitch. You have to go to YouTube, and you'll see how many times he was changed. Well, you remember how many times I worked. I remember these legs, this hand with the book. Oh my God, it was just head, the position for the head. Well, you know, it's just I'm searching for the best representation. And unless I'm happy with it, I have to work on it. But then again, there is a point when you say like, okay, I can make it better. At this point. Maybe in the future, with the second painting, I'll do different adjustments. And you're not going to do only different adjustments when it comes to painting. You're going to position it better. Like next iteration of this, they're going to be slightly in the angle, so they're still going towards you, but you're not going to look straight on them, but in 3/4. And I'll move and twist his head towards us. I already thought of that would be a better way to express them. So it's like, it's not, this is not the end for this, right? And you can see these adjustments being, you know, this might want to go, I might go like really red on the top of the thing oh, I didn't squeeze that vermilion there. That's what I was missing. vermilion. You beautiful pigment. No, that's not you. You can run, but you can't hide. So where are you? I should probably clean this drawer. Same as you did. Because this is getting annoying. Gotcha. This is probably one of my favorite pigments to use, that vermilion. I haven't had a chance to try it, but I wanted to treat myself last time when I was in that big store. So I got it. Yeah, they made my drawers messy. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. Like I said, I never saw them correct my mistakes, but you know, when it comes to messy parts, yes, that's what they do. Let me saturate this area right here. Oh, now we're cooking. Let's hit it with a little bit of lighter value. Still saturated. A little bit more of this red, and then just transparent yellow into it, just to keep the saturation high. Okay, right now it's going to have a bunch of different layers. So when I will search for these, you know, scraping it, I might find these little surprises, happy accidents. Or are you pinky? Right there. Okay, cool. A pinky deserves a little bit more attention there as well. But I'm not going to overpower anything else. I'm just going to keep it very simple there. In this particular case, the important part is to have a right shape or design the proper shape. Since it's sticking out, and the pinky is the most foreshortened. I need a strong light value. And I remember that I used that cadmium yellow even with these previous hand that I painted, the one that I repainted right now. Okay, so it's going to be, it might be a little too much. Let me see. But it's okay because again, I'm oversaturating this because, you know, we talked about a saturation and how much easier it is to how much easier it's to desaturate than, saturate things. Plus it's getting darker here, so I might be overcompensating this. But like I said, it's always better to go a little bit more saturated than less. So I have a kind of a general shape of that. And I'm pushing that straight line even. I'm just trying to show a little bit of that. And then maybe that fold can cover a little bit of that. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice. I know it looks too red right now, but that's okay. Oh, well, you can. You're more than welcome to do it. That would be honor for me to be on the painting of yours, and these little gnomes are a good idea, actually. So this one is the most forward one, so I should probably punch it a little bit more. So saturating it. And I can go full saturation right now because I have a head next to it, so I can then push the head even more saturated. Because right now, when I'm looking at it from a distance, that hand is way more saturated than face is, which is cool. Because right now I can see that I can push faces even more. And then I could connect these two. That might be cool. I could connect these two and disconnect that finger. Or should I? This way and then that way. Okay, maybe I could do that. I'm trying to right now find again, pleasing shape, or designing the shape that would connect fingers nicely. Right, so I'm not thinking about, you remember that Vermeer, I'm gonna remind you of Vermeer over and over again, and the way how he deals with this. He's just connecting fingers. He's not painting individual fingers. He's putting them together. And then he paints a little negative space around to disconnect them, which I could not wrap my head around that for such a long time. It was so difficult for me. This is going to be the light area, and it progresses here. But I already have too much pigment there. So let me switch from a soft brush to a bristle brush. So I can apply pigment with a little bit more texture. This one is going to be the lightest point right here. So this one is going to be the highest finger. Okay. So let's see. This way. That was a mistake. Then right here. And it continues here. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think these fingers are going to be better design-wise. Oh God, I'm losing my brushes. Okay, see, and I hope that right now you understand the power of these adjustments. So when you're thinking about stuff and when you're really trying to push it, it's not because you have nothing else to do. It's because you have that little inner feeling. You remember I talked about it. If I feel that something is wrong, and I was talking about the shoulder, and I was talking about that, creating that foreshortening feel, I knew that something is wrong. I couldn't actually pinpoint what's wrong, but I knew that something, 100%, has to be wrong because I have that inner feeling. And this is something that I have to listen to. I'm not really that good with these, you know. I'm not that good with listening to myself, and you know. Listening to others, it's even worse. But since I don't have anybody to come and correct my mistakes, I'm the only one who can do that. So I developed that kind of a gut feeling that something is wrong. And the moment that I say to myself that something is wrong, I know 100% that something has to go, or change, or adjust, or shift, or whatever that might be. Whatever that problem could be. I'm making these fingers even bigger for some reason. Not for some reason. I'm making these fingers bigger because as I'm going to adjust them tomorrow or day after tomorrow, they're going to get smaller and mushier. So I have to keep the freshness there. Well, this goes, your idea, it's correct because it feels that anxiety that is there, it comes from that inner doubt, I guess, and I have plenty of that. But then the more you paint, the more you develop that understanding of, okay, I'm pretty sure I can repaint it. Maybe it won't be as good and as fresh as I painted the first time, but I guarantee you that it's going to be in the right position compositionally. Ergo, it's better if the composition is a priority for you, right? And I remember that it took me a really, really long time, probably the longest time from everything else, because you can learn how to, you know, make the shadows darker. You can learn because there's, you know, these are recipes that you can follow, and you're going to be all right. But then nobody's going to teach you to just, you know, let's say with this hand. I mean, couple years ago, I would refuse to move that hand. I would refuse to do that. And I would spend hours and hours to try to paint around that. And I would destroy everything around that hand. It's just with it has everything to do with the fact that I unlocked that idea in my head at the academy, and it was 2 or 3 days before the end of the setups, and we were switching the studio into like an exhibition place, and I decided to move the whole feet from here to down. And I think I have that painting somewhere here because I wanted to keep it for myself because it was such an important moment in my life. And I think it's somewhere there. I believe it is. I'll pull it up tomorrow maybe, and I'll show you what I mean. And it was so refreshing for me. I felt that, okay, right now I'm painting. I'm finally painting. I'm not only copying what I see, I'm painting, I'm creating compositionally more beautiful painting to me. Not necessarily, I remember that there was a huge critique from my master, and I was really sad about that. But then this kind of and that's the problem with the academies these days, because they're pushing you to do things correctly, and then you don't correctly by mean, so you see how the leg is. Why are you inventing things if you don't know how to paint? Just paint what you see. It's right there. But it not always works for composition. And if a composition is a priority, not perfectly rendered leg, then you have to move it. There is no way around it. And you have to then think for yourself. You have to be prepared to do these adjustments, no matter what other people are going to tell you. And sometimes, it's going to work, and sometimes it's not going to work, but that's okay. Actually, in my case, 95% of times it's not going to work. But then, that's why I paint that much, and repainting, because I'm actively searching for those 5%. That's actually the focus of even this piece, to find that 5%. And then I'm going to take this painting, and I'm going to look at it as, okay, at this painting right now, this 5%, I'm going to move to 95% of mistakes, and I'm going to find the 5% in another painting. And then you're just going to slowly inch towards the better understanding of what you paint and how you paint, and how can you improve your painting. Yeah, well, you know what, I know, but there's so many other, and I don't want to bash to anybody, but there's so many other, paint by number videos that they're gonna give you that false security. So, and yeah, I told you that this disclaimer at the beginning, this is gonna get hard and annoying, and if you have a goal for yourself that you want to get better, then there's no other way. There's no other way. Unfortunately, there is no other way. I wish there is. Maybe there is, but let me put it this way. Maybe there is another way. I haven't found it. So if you are watching this, and if you are part of this, and you know a better way, please let us know, because I don't. I haven't found it yet. Yeah, and it's really dark right now. I don't think I can continue with this. It's just, and even the sky got really gloomy. I think it's going to snow again, which is not bad. It's just going to be really dark to paint. So let's look at this right now, and let's do a kind of a recap, because I really can't paint anymore. That makes no sense. I don't see the shapes, edges, and the size, and I have to check the size first. because right now it seems the width of the hand, it's almost as big as the head. And you know, when you think about the head, a hand is maybe 3/4 when you look on the size compared to your face. So here's what I did today. First, you know, I was walking back and forth, and I was really thinking about what to do. I used multiple mirrors. I used a small mirror that I have here, which I use this way in order for me to see my painting upside down. Why do I do this? Because it shows me my painting from completely different point of view. It shows me my painting like an abstract painting because everything is upside down. Ergo, I can see symmetries a little better and the shapes, and I am more. It's like looking at your painting with a fresh eye, or completely different painting, and I can focus only on the adjustment when it comes to composition, saturations, whatever the task is at that moment. For me today, when I was looking upside down, I was thinking about what would be better for the shoulders, how to connect them, not shoulders. Well, I was talking about the arms in general and what needs to be done in order for me to make it work a little bit more accurately. So, and I combined it with the mirror that I have right here. I don't think you can see it. So I'm standing, and it's the opposite way. When I'm looking at that mirror, it's flipping that painting. It's like a mirror reflection, but not from upside down, but from left to right. And I have to be out of the frame to see my painting properly. So I have that, and I analyzed everything, and I can tell right now that he even looks that his motion is a little bit better. So he looks a little bit more active. And when I say he, I mean the cross guy, the guy that is holding a cross. So yeah, and that led me to important decisions. And that important decision was, after I adjusted this, I found out the problem. I stumbled upon that randomly, only because I was analyzing it, and I tried to be really honest about that analysis of my painting. And the more honest you are, the better results you're going to get. And I realized that, okay, the problem was with the hand. And the reason why I didn't touch the hand sooner was because I kind of liked how it looked. I really did. But it had to go. Well, there was no other way around that. It had to go. I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't stop it. It had to go because it was breaking that overall feeling of three-dimensional space. And actually, it was breaking that a feeling that the shoulder is in behind and elbow is forward, and it's actually foreshortened. So it really had to go. And it didn't take me that long to move to, to repaint that hand. And right now it's really a rough sketch of the hand only, and I was thinking about the shape. So I was designing the shape. I was not really focusing on, the final version of those fingers. I just need to have that hand solid, and it had to be planted properly on the shoulder. So that's what I was focusing most. And right now I pushed the saturation a little bit more, and it showed me how far I can go with the faces. They can go even more saturated, which is kind of crazy because, last time when we were looking at it, it looked way too orange, way too red, but you don't even feel it right now next to that, red book and the red fingers. Which brings me to another point when it comes to your painting, is that if everything is if everything is high saturation, nothing is saturated. And same goes the other way around. If everything is in that very close to monochromatic, some people like to say dirty palette I heard that expression as well. You know, it's like everything is kind of a same value. You don't oversaturate anything. Then you kind of losing that another layer to play with, right? So we have the edges, values, textures, and so on and so forth. And then on top of that, you can also work with saturations or chroma if you're a diehard Munsell fan. So that's what was happening today. Some of these adjustments I cannot, like I said, I cannot really comment on today, only because I have to see it tomorrow when it's going to be a proper light happening. Because again, if I turn on the lights, it's just going to change everything. And since this painting should hang in the area with enough natural light, and it shouldn't be lit by artificial light source, I don't work under the artificial light source. And you can see how orangey everything is right now. And I cannot still see what's happening here properly. From this close I can, but as I move into background, it kind of recedes into its own background, which is cool because that's what we're trying to do with atmospheric perspective. But first I need to see it, whether or not it's properly positioned. But I think it's going to be okay. I hope so. But the only problem that I have right now, that it feels that it's that the hand kind of making it feel, maybe this hand needs to be, this is going to be annoying, maybe I need to move the hand a little bit more here. So it's in this area, because it kind of extends the shoulder a little too much. And when I'm looking where his hip is and when his foot, it almost seems like this is kind of a, it looks like that, you know, you know how it looks right now when I'm looking at it and analyzing it, like that old school typewriters. When you were typing, and then the little thing on the top went on the side till it came to a, you know, as you were typing, it was moving that the piece of paper on the side. So that's how I feel right now. So it's like a typewriter, and it goes all the way to that edge. But that might be me right now overthinking it, perhaps a little bit. But still, I wanted to have him under a certain, you know, slightly under the angle. But this might be a little too much. Well, we'll see. Maybe maybe I can repaint this foot and to put it into a slightly different spot. That will give a little bit more a leeway there. So it's going to be a little bit more diagonal. I don't know. Perhaps. Perhaps. Yeah, let's see. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about this right now at this point. Like I said, because I cannot really look at this painting as a whole thing, because you know the light conditions are not really most favorable. So yeah. So I guess this is going to be it for today. Again. I did not paint it that much today, but I made a couple good key adjustments, and I have to go back to it again tomorrow. So it's all good. It's all good. I need to clean this, because Saturday I not forgot to clean brushes. I wanted to clean them, but then I got preoccupied with some other stuff, and I missed my train. I'm going to use this orange high saturation pigment because that's not going to dry as fast. But you know, it feels all right. I think it feels all right now when it comes to the gesture and position, and I think it represents that motion. It still keeps that, you know, that holding that shoulder there. So I think we're good. Let's see what's gonna happen tomorrow when I come to studio and I'll see this abomination of a painting. We'll see. But as it is, as right now, as always, you know, I'm kind of okay. I'm pretty satisfied with the adjustments, not necessarily with the painting, but with the decision making. So try to think of this from this perspective, perhaps, that, and this is probably something that I could, you know, with always that ideas that should probably linger somewhere in your brain. I would like to end up with those ideas. And today, probably the good, a good lesson to take from my mistakes, again, because you want to learn from my mistakes, not necessarily from your own, if that's possible. But then, you know, I'm not going to stop you to experiment. I'm going to encourage you to experiment and make your own adjustments and decisions when it comes to you know, problems with your artwork. And what I was trying to say is that maybe I'm not happy with the way how I painted today, but I think that decision making was successful. It needs to be adjusted, no doubt about it, but at least there is something to look forward to. So maybe the paint application, the brush handling, the color, the value, the edges are not there, but the decision was made, and it was a correct one. So that's how I look at it right now. That's why I consider this a successful, another, you know, a success, another successful step more towards that finished painting. So, and again, check this out. Check out my previous videos. You will see how many mistakes, or how many adjustments rather, because I promise not use this use word mistakes, because these are just, you know, simple adjustments, something that I don't like or like, and that gut feeling inside that, you know, you can check them on YouTube for sure. They're all there and there, you have to scroll really all down. I mean, like before the summer perhaps, and you will see that I was, you know, struggling with feet. I was struggling with position of this hand as well. I was painting this a lot of time. Oh my God, this area. When I pushed this diagonal there, I was so happy because they were so empty, right? So there is plenty of adjustments that I made that I'm still keeping. But maybe this needs to have a different fold again. I don't know, but I'm open to that possibility, right? Because as I evolve the painting, the ideas that I have evolved. And also I have a clearer picture in my head as I'm getting closer to finish, how it's supposed to look. I'm far from finished. This needs at least a couple, maybe 100 hours to put into it, the moment that I'm looking at. And it all depends on how quickly and how efficiently I can make these adjustments. So you should, you know, if you made an adjustment today, you should be happy that the adjustment was made. Because that was the push towards the right direction. So I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow. Hopefully it's going to be an awesome day as well, even though it doesn't look that way right now because I see some clouds coming in. So let's see how much more snow we're going to get tomorrow and how good this weather is going to be. So yeah, awesome day today. I know it's Monday and Mondays are usually not that good, but you know, every day in the studio it's a good day. So I hope that you enjoyed this and I hope to see you soon, hopefully tomorrow. So stay cool and stay cool and take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.